Okay. Okay, now it is visible to everyone? Is it
Yes, sir.
visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Now we can see. Okay. So after a lot of drawbacks in the previous classification of Durkee-Chow's or Mark-Brett morphogenetic classification zonality concept, we have found a lot of drawbacks, which we have discussed in the previous class. Now today we are going to discuss about the new comprehensive system of soil classification. What are those? This is what the new terms means. So as we discussed, there are a lot of confusions in the previous systems. That's why a new comprehensive system has been developed to overcome those problems. So when it was started, initially it was started in 1951, and in 1951, several approximations, several proposals, or several approximations were made taken after a critical suggestion from the pedologists from different countries. So from different countries, different pedologists have sat and met, and they have discussed many things, many approaches they have given. So like that, and finally, on fine day, they have published one approximation that is called 7 times. So they have met 7 times. That's why it's called as seventh approximation. In 1960, the seventh approximation was published, and also for this seventh approximation, some additional information were added in 1964 and 1967. Like that, we have added. From that day onwards, if there is any new innovations or any new type of soils were formed, they are updating the seventh approximation model. This is the main. So these are the reasons why it is called seventh approximation reason. So finally we came with one new classification called soil taxonomy, a basic system of soil classification for making interpreting soil surveys, was published in 1975. Finally, at last, what they again after a long discussions, long classifications, etc. 1975, they came with one good interpretations of classification. And the seventh approximation, mostly the seventh approximation mostly lays on the morphology of the soils themselves rather than the environmental factors, which is quite opposite to the zonality concept, which we have discussed in the previous class. This is a major difference, students. In new comprehensive system, the seventh approximation, with here we can see only morphological classification. That is what we are reading here. We have reading all these things. Whenever a pedologist or whenever a soil scientist was gone, what he will do in the field? Immediately he will take his he will check the color. So to find out in the color, what we have to do? What we have to do for finding the color?
Munson color chart.
Okay, we have to use Munson color charts, and we're going. So first of all we'll focus on mostly on morphological characteristics, which is the foundation for the seventh approximation. So coming to this, what are the characteristics? What are the major characters of the seventh approximation? These are the some characteristics. What are they? It is a natural classification. It's completely dependent upon the natural classification of the soils. There is nothing additionally was added, and the classification completely based on the properties of the soil, students. This is very important, especially if any graduate, even when you went to JRF or JRF research side also, you will classify based on only on the properties. What are the present properties are there? We based on that we are going to classify, and the properties should be observable. Those properties, how those properties should be, those properties should be observable, and not only observable but also measurable. We have to observe and also should be measurable. So properties, which can be measured, quantitative should be referred. So quantitative, what are the properties can be measured quantitatively? Those should be preferred very much. So quantitative characters means it is nothing. Regularly we usually see what is the texture, what how many, what is the content, what is the physical characteristics, all these things, which is very qualitative analysis. Now, so we will see all those things. And the properties selected should be either affects the soil genesis or results of the genesis. This is what, students. See, this is though it is completely this fourth point. See, it will give some sort of some slight touching with the zonality concept. See, the properties which we are studying, so-called properties, that should be either effect that property should be by come by the effect of soil genesis. So for example, podization, salinization. So all those are all some climatic factors. Heavy leaching, or leaching or some topography will influence will be there. Hair and material influence will be there. So that is all nothing but genetic factors, genesis factors. So what are the properties we are considering? Those properties should be affected by the soil genesis, or that property should be results from the soil genesis. Here, though, this is the beauty of this classification, students. And coming to the fifth one, properties which are greater significance to the plant growth should be selected for the higher categories. This is what, as agriculture point of view, this property will be very suitable for our purpose. So mostly, this fifth property, that should those properties should be very significant to the plant category, and those properties should be select as a higher category. And sixth one, student, is very flexible system, very flexible. If you found any new orders or new properties, automatically we can update this sort of classification, students. So I hope you have got some idea regarding the seventh approximation characteristics. So these are the few sort of small characteristics of soil classification. And coming to the next, there are six categories of classification, six hierarchy, students. I hope you may also have seen this in your BSc examination purpose. This is what I'm interested. So very first one is order, suborder, grade group. These are the hierarchy: order, suborder, grade group, subgroup, family, and series. So these are the categories of this classification, this modern the soil taxonomical classification. Very first we will see orders. How many orders are there at present? How many orders are there?
12.
Fine, okay.
12.
Anyhow, there are 12 orders are there, and suborders, grade groups, subgroups, family, and series. Now we are going to deal about all these things. What are this order? What is this suborder? What is this grade group, subgroup, family, series, etc. We are going to see in detail regarding with this type of characteristics, how this will be affected, what are the role in the classification, what sort of characteristics we are going to embedded in this hierarchy, in these categories. So very first, without any delay, we will read all these things. So order, you know, can anyone say order names? Can anyone list out what are the order names? Anyone, student? Please.
Antisols, histosols,
Indisols, istosols, okay.
alpisols,
What?
meridisols,
Okay, Redisols 3.
mollisols,
Okay, Mollisols 4.
dissolves,
cortisols, oxysols,
Okay, Oxysols
histosols,
10. Okay,
Cortisols.
Histosols.
antisols, gelisols,
Vertisols.
antisols,
Vertisols, okay, then
gelisols,
Jellysols.
antisols,
Yeah, already Indisols is repeated, already I've
inseptisols,
said. Yeah, Inseptisols.
alphisols,
Alpisols, yeah.
andisols,
Yes, Andisols. You're completed. I think 11 it came. What we have missed? Only
sporozols,
okay. Huh?
sporozols,
Sporosols. Yeah, we have missed sporosols. Well, that's all. That's a good. There are 12 soil orders. So whenever we read about these soil orders, so these soil orders completely based on what is that? Soil forming processes. So based on soil forming processes only. The soil forming process means soil pedogenic process. So pedogenic process will be involved much in the classifying the orders. Coming to the suborders, students, these are the subdivisions of the order, and here in suborders you can mostly see the genetic homogeneity means what kind of climate and environmental vegetation is there. Wetness helps, what are the wetness which helps in genetic process. So this in this order only we can see some climatic influence, what kind of climatic prevailing in the what sort of climatic positions is there, what kind of or wetness is there. Wetness means all this, we have discussed that temperature regime, moisture regime, etc, etc. That is what we have discussed. That will be sought out in the suborder. Come to the grade group, students. Grade groups, these are the diagnostic organs. Mostly based on the diagnostic organs only we can see. Diagnostic are the primary base for differentiation of grade groups. So mostly we know, we have read what is the diagnostic organs. What are the diagnostic origins? Epipedones, endopedones, etc. We have discussed in the previous class. Those are the diagnostic origins. So, primary base for the differentiation grade groups in a given suborder. Okay, nearly there are 230 grade groups are recognized. Maybe nowadays, I think it's very old data. Maybe we can expect more grade groups. So this is regarding grade groups. So orders are completely formed on the soil formation. Suborders we can see some genetic homogeneity we can observe in the suborders, and grade groups we can observe some, based on diagnostic origins. These genetic grade groups have been classified based on the genetic based on diagnostic origins. The grade groups have been created. And next is called the subgroup. Subgroup is nothing but some subdivisions of the classification. Different kind of characteristics will be present in this subgroup. So around 1200 subgroups will be there. Students, it is visible, audible. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Right. So like this we have done. And coming to the family, students, family is completely based on the characteristics. What are the characteristics? Based on the texture, mineralogy, temperature, soil depth, like that. Family is completely, we will see the differentiation by different types of characteristics like texture. We will see texture, some morphological characteristics like texture. We will see the mineralogy. We will see the temperature, soil depth, and some around there are around 6,600 families are there. This is regarding the family. And coming to the series, there are many series. These series are completely differentiated based on the kind of arrangement of origins and local conditions. The series are the subdivisions of the family, and most of the specific units of classification, differentiation characters are primarily based on the. So mostly this series will mostly will be recorded the local conditions. Different kind of characteristics, different kind of origin characteristics will be set in this series only. There are around 16,800 soil series are there. Series is the very lowest category, students. Coming to enter the hierarchy, the series is very lowest category. In this we can see many things. In this only we can see the local conditions, what kind of soils are present, some difference. For example, say for example some X is there. You remember some X will be there. In that X there will be many soil categories will be kept in that X. So that is called the X series. Mostly there will be local names for the series names, students. So series is the lowest category. Here we can see the kind of arrangement of origin, primary basis of arrangement. Primary characters will be arranged. So like this, this is regarding the series. So overall, students, this is a very simple explanation just for understanding only. I given very simple points. So this is regarding this category, or this is regarding this classification of soils. Okay, then and next is nothing but directly we will jump to the orders. We'll read about something which is very important. Definitely we'll get a few questions in order also. Before going to that one, if you have any doubts, you can ask now regarding this new comprehensive system of classification or the last previous generality concept of classification. We will discuss something, and then we can furtherly we can proceed to the soil orders. Hello, students, are you listening?
Yes, sir.
Okay, any questions before that? We have to be very clarified. Any doubts? You can
Sir,
ask.
please repeat once drawbacks of generality concept.
Actually, drawbacks it was discussed in the last class. Anyhow, we will see this. Actually, these are limitations. It is nothing because one thing, student. In one word, in genetic system of classification, which is genetic system of classification, they are given more importance to the environmental factors only. Environmental fact, they always concerned about the, they always concerned about the climatic conditions, topography, etc., but they completely neglected the base soil properties, original soil properties. And due to this one point, there are a lot of confusions. There are a lot of confusion between the virgin soils. Virgin soils means which were not cultivated, forest land soils, and between cultivated soils. Cultivated soils, some problem are there. The characteristics of the cultivated soils cannot be studied by this under this classification, and characteristics of the virgin soils, which was not disturbed, also cannot be studied. And also the words which we have used, the words which are the nomenclature and names which are given was very difficult to understand by the many of the scientists. And also they're given more importance to soil color and vegetation, even though they given more importance soil color and vegetation, but they neglected these soil properties, which was shown a lot of impact on original reality. When coming to the reality, this system of classification was not that much successful, was not given that much interest. It was, there is no use of, we can't go any scientific study based on this genetic system of classification, students. And like this, there is no clear concept of what is high, what the highest category. And they even they not at all, they always confirm, they themselves are confirmed to genetic terms only than the basic properties of the soil. This is the main reason why the system was completely outdated and failed in most of the scientists. Though Margaret came and he did some modifications, even that one also have not fit in USA, United States. His classification was not successful. So overcome all these problems, we have came to this system, new comprehensive system of classification, seventh approximation. Here, they have retained the original characteristics of the soils, and they have gone through some measurable properties. That property should be reflect the genesis. This is the beauty of this concept. So, for example, some fossilization was happening. Suppose some soils were formed, some acid soils were formed. What is the parent material? So we can say some granite or sometimes basalt. They are completely dependent. They are completely satisfying both the origin and the present characteristics. That's why the system was very successful in most of the countries, even our subcontinent like India, and even India, Sri Lanka. Most of our countries are using this system. In Singapore also using, but few countries still they have their own classification of systems. Especially New Zealand, they have some sort of different classification system. Nothing is that to remember. That's all. I think I following me. I have you followed my words?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I think it is not fair. How many students are there? Only three students are there. Anyhow, I think tomorrow is Monday. Okay. Okay. This is we can stop to up to here. We will go very step by step.